Hello and a very warm welcome. Thanks for tuning in to News9 Live. I'm Kabir Naqvi and we're bringing you this special broadcast of top stories from our studios here in the National Capital Region, styled exclusively by Paul Mall. We have an expansive list of stories for you to cover. We will, of course, talk about what's happening in Uttarkashi in that tunnel collapse. We will bring you latest details coming out of the West Asian conflict between Israel and Hamas. Some other global updates and domestic political stories as well. But without wasting much time, let's quickly cut across to Uttarkashi, where more than 40 workers continue to be trapped in the partially collapsed Silk Yara tunnel located in the Uttarkashi district of Uttarakhand. Now, the collapse occurred on the 12th of November, and the rescue efforts have faced a setback as a US-made auger machine employed to drill and insert pipes for resolving the issue experienced a malfunction, which temporarily halted the entire rescue process. This, even as Uttarakhand Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami, he is expected to conduct an on-site inspection of the ongoing relief and rescue work in the Silk Yara tunnel located on the Uttarkashi-Yamunotri road shortly. Now, he is going to be accompanied by, of course, Gadkari as well, who's the Union Minister for Transport and Highways. But before we move on, let's quickly listen in to what the Chief Minister of Uttarakhand, Pushkar Singh Dhami, had to say.
सभी प्रकार के जितने भी विकल्प हैं उन सभी विकल्पों पर काम हो रहा है और सभी विशेषज्ञों की टीमें यहाँ पर काम कर रही है। जितनी भी विशेषज्ञता है सभी लगाई जा रही है। हमारे प्रधानमंत्री आदरणीय नरेंद्र मोदी जी के निर्देशन में, उनके मॉनिटरिंग में लगातार इस पर काम चल रहा है। श्रमिक भाइयों का जीवन बचाना हमारी पहली प्राथमिकता है। उनको बाहर निकालना, उस काम के लिए राज्य सरकार हर संभव जितनी भी एजेंसी हैं उन एजेंसियों को संपूर्ण मदद देने के लिए तैयार है। संपूर्ण मदद दी जा रही है। हम भगवान से प्रार्थना करते हैं कि जल्दी से जल्दी वो आएँ, क्योंकि उनका वास्तव में समय बीतने के साथ साथ उनकी परेशानियां बढ़ रही हैं और पारिवारिक जनों के ऊपर भी जिस प्रकार का वो महसूस कर रहे होंगे, जिस प्रकार की परेशानी है उसको महसूस किया जा सकता है। हमारा प्रयास है कि जल्दी से जल्दी उनको बाहर निकाला जाए। उस काम को हर तरीके से करने का काम हो रहा है। देखिए, वहाँ वैसे तो विशेषज्ञ सभी काम कर रहे हैं। हम लोग ये कोशिश करते हैं कि वहाँ पर कम से कम बीच में जाया जाए, डिस्टर्बेंस कम से कम हो। लेकिन चूँकि मौके पर परिजन भी आए हुए हैं, अन्य लोग भी आए हैं, एजेंसियाँ भी काम कर रही हैं और आज भारत सरकार के माननीय मंत्री नितिन गडकरी जी भी आ रहे हैं, तो मैं उनके साथ वहाँ जा रहा हूँ।
Well, now rescue teams are in a race against time to free 40 construction workers trapped under debris for 8 days now after the tunnel collapse. Let's take a look at the latest developments on the rescue operations. Now, over 40 workers are still trapped in the Uttarkashi tunnel. As per the latest update, this number has been updated to 41. US-made auger machine experienced a malfunction, halting the entire rescue process temporarily. Now, Pushkar Singh Dhami is going to conduct an on-site inspection of the ongoing relief operations and what's really happening. Union Minister Nitin Gadkari, he's already arrived in Uttarkashi and he's going to be accompanying the Chief Minister when he is on this on-site inspection. Meanwhile, the Indian Army has been tasked with constructing a track to the top of the hill. We've already been getting visuals of the Indian Army and the big earth diggers and earth movers that are making their way atop the Silk Yara tunnel to finally make way for a vertical drill as well. Because another plan that is now part of the rescue operations is the fact that a vertical operation is going to be carried out. You can see those big earth movers that are making their way as well. Trapped workers are facing respiratory issues according to the medical experts. And meanwhile, from all these visuals that you're looking at on your screens, a total of 5 rescue options are being assessed. This, even as the Prime Minister's office has joined the rescue operations. According to the PMO statement, there is going to be no stone that is going to be left unturned to safeguard the lives of these workers that are trapped inside the tunnels. This, even as various temples have been set up at the opening of the Silk Yara tunnel, right next to the mouth of the tunnel, as the local people try to please the local deities for the safe evacuation of all these workers. Even as the temples are being set up, various state government officials Namely, the Odisha government officials and the Jharkhand government officials have made their way to Uttarkashi to personally inquire about what's happening in the tunnel rescue process. This, as the 8th day, 150 hours plus, the workers are still inside. Many are having to go through respiratory problems, according to medical experts. Many of them saying that they will have to go through a lot of trauma as well. Now, Union Minister Nitin Gadkari, he has also arrived in Uttarkashi. He is going to take stock of the relief and rescue work along with the Chief Minister, Pushkar Singh Dhami. There you have it, visuals on your screens. The Chief Minister welcoming the Union Transport and Highway Minister, the Highwayman of India. He is there himself trying to take stock of the situation. It's been 8 days, let's not forget. A new temple that we showed you has also been set up to please the local deities for the safe evacuation of the stranded workers as well. Now on Friday at approximately about 2:45 p.m. in the afternoon, whilst positioning the 5th pipe out of the 6 pipes, a loud cracking sound emanated from the tunnel. In response to this, the NHIDCL released a statement announcing the suspension of the rescue operations. Now, the rescue operations have again begun. The Selkyara tunnel, which spans over 4.5 kilometers, is an integral part of the Char Dham project initiated by the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways. Its purpose is to connect the Gangotri and the Yamunotri axis beneath the Radi Pass area. Take a look at that. People having to circumvent the tunnel. These are rescue workers. These are families of the workers that are trapped inside. Everybody is trying to make their way, trying to get some sort of information as to what's happening in this rescue process. Advanced machines, they have started to arrive at Selkyara tunnel. We were just showing you those visuals, the advanced machines, the earth diggers, the earth movers, as rescue operation to bring out the stranded victims is underway. A part of Selkyara tunnel, it collapsed on the 12th of November. It's been 8 days now. Now, meanwhile, even as you're looking at these visuals on your screens, a new plan is being executed wherein 150 Indian Army soldiers are engaged and a track of about 320 meters is being constructed, and then 80 to 120 meters needs to be drilled vertically from the top of the Selkyara tunnel, exactly opening up to the place where the workers are trapped. Now, the Indian Army has now been tasked with constructing this track to the top of the hill so that the option of reaching out to the trapped workers through vertical drilling can be availed. The army will work on war footing for the construction of the track, and they will have to cut trees wherever they come in the way. Now, the trapped workers have been complaining of nausea and vomiting, even though food and oxygen is being supplied to them. Respiratory issues continue to persist. Major stakeholders, their reactions, take a look at them.
अनविक नंबर 922 है।
और इस मशीन से क्या काम होगा?
यहाँ पे पाइप रोप के लिए आया है।
पहाड़ के ऊपर से?
नहीं, अंदर से।
अंदर से?
जी।
अंदर वाली जो 25 मीटर पाइप डली पड़ी है, उसको और आगे बढ़ाने के लिए?
नहीं।
तो
ये शुरू होगा पहले से, ये उसका ऊपर से ही पाइप रोप होगा और ये सिर्फ मलबा रुकने के लिए।
अच्छा, टनल के अंदर इस मशीन के जरिए पाइप को ड्रिल करोगे या मलबा रुकेगा?
पाइप ड्रिल करके अंदर ही जाएगा। अच्छा। उसके बाद ग्राउंडिंग होगा। ग्राउंडिंग होने के बाद ये मलबा रुकेगा। लेंथी प्रोसेस है।
अच्छा। वो
तो अपना बंदालों को निकालने के लिए लगा हुआ है मशीन, ये टनल को सेव करने के लिए। आज तो नहीं हो पाएगा क्योंकि अंदर रेस्क्यू काम चल रहा है, वो खत्म होने के बाद शायद होगा।
कहाँ से ये मशीन आई है?
बेसिक कोडियाला, ऋषिकेश। जी, ऋषिकेश
से मशीन आई है।
ट्रैक बनाने के लिए काम दिया है, जो ट्रैक से ताकि हम ऊपर से वर्टिकल ड्रिलिंग कर सके। तो अभी मेरे पास जो मिशन है, मुझे ऊपर से ट्रैक बनाना है। हमें 300 अराउंड 320 मीटर्स का ट्रैक बनाना है और जिससे हमारी ड्रिलिंग मशीन जो ड्रिलिंग रिग है उसको हम ऊपर पहुंचा सकें। हमारा टारगेट है कि हमें कल सुबह 9 बजे तक इसको कंप्लीट करना है। हम कोशिश पूरी करेंगे कि हम जिस स्तर पे काम उस हिसाब से कर रहे हैं कि हम उसको एटलीस्ट अंजाम दे सकें। इस तरह मेरी खुद की कंपनी है, हम अराउंड 150 लोग हैं।
और फिर कितने पेड़ इसमें काटे जाएंगे?
पेड़ काटेंगे, अभी हमने ऐसा आकलन नहीं किया है कि हमें पेड़ कितने काटने हैं। हम कोशिश करेंगे कि हमारी ट्रैक जिस एंगल पे हमें चाहिए वो हम बनाएं। अगर बीच में आएंगे तो हम काटेंगे।
अल्टरनेट प्लान के बारे में जो मेरी जानकारी में है यही है कि भाई अभी जो हॉरिजॉन्टली हम लोग अंदर ट्राई कर रहे थे, जिसमें कि कई बार हम तो सफल भी हो रहे थे, कहीं पे रुक भी जा रहे थे, तो इस पे ये डिसीजन लिया गया कि भाई कुछ दूसरे ऑप्शन की तलाश किए जाए। एक ही ऑप्शन के भरोसे नाराज है, तो इसमें ये हुआ कि हॉरिजॉन्टल के अलावा कुछ वर्टिकल ओपनिंग्स भी दी जाए इनको रेस्क्यू करने के लिए। उसमें एक ओपनिंग ये सिलक्यारा जो टनल के ठीक ऊपर इन्होंने जिस स्पॉट को इनके सर्वेयरों ने आइडेंटिफाई या मार्क किया हुआ है वो लिया हुआ है, और वहां से बोरिंग करके एक प्रयास एक होल किया जाएगा नीचे के लिए, जहां से कि वहां तक पहुंचा जाए।
And the latest that we're picking up right now, ladies and gentlemen, from Uttarkashi in Uttarakhand, the tunnel rescue operations are currently underway. Meanwhile, Union Minister Nitin Gadkari and Uttarakhand Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami have arrived at the site of the Uttarkashi tunnel collapse to conduct an on-site inspection of the ongoing relief and rescue works. The visuals will soon follow. The pictures on your screens will corroborate that particular information. A part of Silkyara tunnel, it collapsed on the 12th of November. It's been 12 days now, 150 plus hours that they've been inside this particular collapsed portion of the tunnel. It is a long space. People have been talking about how the workers will have space to move in and about inside. They have the right kind of communication gadgets, devices, walkie-talkies. They have essential resources. Food and oxygen supply is not a concern at the moment. But for how long can you sustain yourself inside a collapsed portion of an under-construction tunnel in the upper ranges of Uttarakhand? Well, you can decide that for yourself. Trauma and respiratory issues far and plenty, according to medical experts. Now, the Indian Army has been tasked with a different set of approach. There is a new plan that is in of course, the making. 5 different plans that are being assessed at the moment, and Uttarakhand Chief Minister, he's at the site conducting an on-site inspection of the ongoing relief and rescue works in the Silkyara tunnel. Meanwhile, a vertical drill, that is another option that is being assessed. And apart from that, the Prime Minister's office, it has joined the rescue operations. A new road is being constructed, which you can see on your screens. Now, the Indian Army has been tasked. About 150 Jawans of the Indian Army are tirelessly working on this project. About 350 plus meters above the tunnel, a new track is being built, from where a vertical drill, which will again take drilling of about 80 to 120 meters, that is still going to be needed, but it will give us another option of vertically approaching all the workers that are trapped currently inside the Silkyara tunnel. 5 rescue options are being explored by various authorities and agencies. Prayers are being offered at a makeshift temple that has been built at the main entrance of the tunnel. Rescue operations are being carried out and people are praying for their loved ones. Meanwhile, those are visuals that we were just talking about. The highwayman, Union Minister for Transport and Highways, Nitin Gadkari, and Chief Minister of Uttarakhand, Pushkar Singh Dhami, both have arrived in Uttarkashi. They're going to soon be at the tunnel site, taking stock of the situation over there. What's really happening on the ground? Why is it taking 8 days? The families of all these trapped workers are anxious. They're still awaiting any kind of positive update, but it seems like they aren't receiving them. Meanwhile, what's interesting to note here is that all the other workers that are not trapped but were working in this particular tunnel construction have raised their voice against the tunnel construction administration for lack of safety measures and protocols. The NHI DCL is also has also come under fire, putting out statements time and again, which is why again you have the National Highwayman himself, the Union Minister for Transport and National Highways, the Road Corporation, Nitin Gadkari. He's in Uttarkashi. All the latest details, will continue to get them. Big earth diggers are developing a track on top of the Silkyara tunnel. Major high advanced technicality machines are being put inside the mouth of the tunnel to carry out that drilling process, pushing that 5th pipe inside the debris. Meanwhile, all the stakeholders, the major ones, are now on the ground in trying to take a stock of the situation on the site. Shifting our focus here, Delhi's air quality has seen an improvement from the severe category to the very poor category, with the AQI levels on Sunday coming down to about 330. The improved air quality has prompted the government to lower the pollution alert level, and the Commission of Air Quality Management has revoked the Stage 4 of the Graded Response Action Plan measures in the national capital. With this, all schools in Delhi will be opening on the 20th of November, starting next week. However, outdoor sports activities and morning assemblies will not be held for the next 1 week at least. Now, with GRAP 4, which is the Graded Response Action Plan, with GRAP 4 measures being scrapped, diesel trucks have also been allowed to enter the national capital. Shifting our focus here to northeast now, in the ethnic conflict-ridden state of Manipur. Because even as the ethnic strife in Manipur continues, 10 political parties have urged the state governor, Anusuya Uike, to initiate peace talks between the warring groups, the dissenting sides. Now, led by Congress leader O. Ibobi Singh, the delegation emphasized the need for central intervention, specifically from Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in order to restore peace. Now, the all-party group approached the governor, urging her to initiate peace talks. Governor Uike assured them of taking steps for dialogue and submitting reports on the unrest to central leaders. Now, it's important to note here that the meet that you're seeing on your screens comes in the backdrop of heightened tensions amid the indigenous tribal leaders' forum's threat. The delegation met the governor after ITLF, a frontal organization of Kuki-Zo tribes in Manipur, threatened to establish a self-governed separate administration in areas where these tribes have a majority, essentially Churachandpur, Kangpokpi and Tengunopal districts. The delegation comprised representatives of the AAP, the AIFB, the AITC, CPI, CPIM, the JDU, NCP, RSP and the SSUBT faction. The state government has strongly condemned, and this is the Biren Singh-led state government that has strongly condemned the indigenous tribal leaders forum's call for self-governed separate administration in districts that are dominated by the members of the Kuki-Zo community, and the state government has termed those demands as illegal. An FIR has also been filed against an office bearer of the ITLF in Churachandpur police station. Manipur has remained gripped by recurring bouts of violence since ethnic clashes first erupted in May. More than 180 people have been killed, more than 60,000 people that have been displaced. But it's important to note here that the government is taking stand against voices that threaten the sovereignty of India. Separate administration and self-rule, and an ultimatum that threatens it. Well, there's a small line over there that usually gets blurred. It's important to note that the Manipur government has condemned the quote-unquote illegal statement coming out of ITLF. From Manipur, let's cross over back to Uttar Pradesh, where the government has imposed an immediate ban on products with a halal certification tag, citing confusion over food quality and asserting that only authorities can determine food standards. The official order says that halal certification of food products is a parallel system which creates confusion regarding the quality of food items and is not tenable under Section 89. The ban covers the production, storage, distribution and sale of halal certified food products within the state. The government has emphasized upon the illegality of halal certification for medicines, medical devices and cosmetics, alleging a large-scale conspiracy to exploit religious sentiments and boost sales. The move follows a police case against entities providing forged halal certificates. The ban excludes products manufactured for export. Halal certification ensures adherence to Islamic dietary laws as well. Now, with Prime Minister Narendra Modi expressing concerns about the misuse of artificial intelligence, the government has decided to take the matter even more seriously. IT Minister Ashwini Vaishnav informed that the government is planning to hold a meeting with social media companies to discuss about the measures which can be taken to address the deepfake menace. Vaishnav stated that the safe harbor immunity provided to the social media platforms could be scrapped if platforms don't act decisively against deepfakes. Notices were issued, and while platforms have responded, the minister emphasized the need for more aggressive measures. A meeting with major platforms like Meta and Google is imminent. And Vaishnav clarified that safe harbor won't protect platforms if they don't swiftly combat deepfakes. The concern arises from the recent viral deepfake videos targeting actors, prompting public outrage and calls for preventive actions. Semi-finals of the 2024 general elections. 5 states are going to polls. It's Mandate 2023, and the Bharatiya Janata Party unveiled its manifesto for the 2023 Telangana Assembly elections, outlining 25 significant promises. Among these commitments were the elimination of the 4% reservation for the Muslims in the state of Telangana, the proposal for a backward classes chief minister, the provision of 4 free gas cylinders for Ujjwala Yojana beneficiaries, and measures to alleviate the impact of high petrol and diesel prices. It also included the establishment of an NRI ministry aimed at assisting Telangana residents in other countries. Amit Shah, that you can see on your screens, the Union Home Minister, and other BJP leaders declared the party's resolve to designate the next Chief Minister of Telangana from the backward class. An important step. This decision, he explained, was made to ensure social justice for backward classes and to empower their aspirations. But here is a list of some of other key promises made by the Bharatiya Janata Party. Now, like I mentioned before, the pledge to eliminate 4% Muslim reservation only emphasizes the increase in BC and SC/ST quotas that's going to come across. Meanwhile, beneficiaries of the Ujjwala Yojana have been promised 4 free gas cylinders annually. On the other hand, the implementation of the Uniform Civil Code within a span of 6 months, if voted to power, is another key promise of the Bharatiya Janata Party. Fixed deposit of rupees 2 lakh for the birth of a girl child and loans at only a 1% interest for women's self-help groups. Not women empowerment, but women-led empowerment as well. Now, Hyderabad Liberation Day, and Razakar Vibhishika Samiti, Smriti Divas, is going to be officially celebrated according to the Home Minister, and it's also been made part of the BJP's Telangana manifesto. There is going to be a quote-unquote zero tolerance against corruption. Several campaigns to curb corruption in the state of Telangana are also being thought out as per the Bharatiya Janata Party. And the party is also committed to reducing petrol and diesel prices by cutting down value-added tax. Petrol and diesel prices, another pain point. A poll plank, well, we'll have to wait and find out. Meanwhile, financial assistance of 2,500 per acre for farmers and benefits under the Prime Minister Fasal Bima Yojana. All of this is part of BJP's Telangana manifesto. In terms of education, free laptops for those pursuing degrees or professional courses. And on the other hand, unemployment is a big poll issue. And the BJP promises 2.5 million youths with jobs in the next 5 years. Shifting our focus to Maldives now, because the Maldives government under the new president Mohammad Muizzu has officially asked India to withdraw its military presence from the country. Muizzu formally made the request when he met India's Union Minister Kiren Rijiju. Visuals on your screens after his swearing-in ceremony. Now, the withdrawal of foreign troops from the archipelago has been one of the key promises of the new president, and he had reiterated his resolve to do so in his first speech to the nation after being sworn in. Without naming India, Muizzu had said the country will not have any foreign military personnel in the Maldives. Now, India has around 70 soldiers in Maldives who are responsible for manning radar and surveillance aircraft. Indian warships also help patrol Maldives' exclusive economic zone. Sources in the Ministry of External Affairs in India have said that workable solutions regarding the issue are being discussed between the Maldives and the Indian government. The following content may contain visuals that are disturbing, graphic, or sensitive in nature. Viewer discretion is advised. This material is intended for mature audiences and may not be suitable for all viewers. Please exercise caution while watching, and if you find such content distressing, we recommend discontinuing viewing. This disclaimer is provided to ensure awareness and to prioritize viewer well-being. Now, the war between Israel and Hamas has entered the 44th day. There is no end to the fighting. Israel is now looking to expand its operations into southern Gaza, whilst a deal to release the hostages still seems far away. Let's take a look at the top developments from the war front on the 44th day. More than 12,000 Palestinians have been killed in the war as per the Gaza Health Ministry. This includes about 5,000 children who have been killed in the Gaza Strip. Meanwhile, 1.5 million Palestinians have been displaced across the besieged Gazan Palestinian enclave. US President Joe Biden has urged the international community to help manage the security of the Gaza Strip for an interim period after the war, to be followed eventually by Palestinian Authority's governance. Meanwhile, Benjamin Netanyahu says no ceasefire deal yet to bring Israeli hostages home. On the other hand, protests have been staged across Israel to pressurize governments to bring back the hostages. The World Health Organization officials say that Al-Shifa, the largest medical complex in the Palestinian enclave, is now a death zone after finding mass graves at the hospital entrance. Now, in what can be touted as a fresh indication by the Israeli side that it plans to attack Hamas in the south portion of the Gaza Strip, Israel issued a warning to Gazans in the southern city of Khan Yunis to move out of the line of fire and closer to humanitarian aid. But a big question now, where is this humanitarian aid? Where is this safe place for the civilians to go to? Mark Regev, an aide to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, told a media portal that we're asking people to relocate. I know it's not easy for many of them, but we don't want to see civilians caught up in the crossfire. Now, this move could force hundreds of thousands of Gazans who fled south from Israeli assault on Gaza City to move again, along with residents of Khan Yunis, a city of more than 4 lakh, worsening an already dire humanitarian crisis. Israel had launched its operation in search of the hostages as much as in pursuit of the Hamas terrorists. But it's not clear whether the hostages have been moved to South Gaza or not, now that the operation in the north, it seems, is nearing completion. Let's take you through the map of the Gaza Strip. Now that the Gazans in the southern city of Khan Yunis have been asked to move out of the line of fire, people who had taken shelter in the north, about more than 1.77 lakh people in the Rafah, are being asked to move towards the Rafah crossing, and about 2.9 lakh people in Khan Yunis face fears of displacement as well. The question is, where do they go? To the north, where heavy bombardment and shelling is underway, houses have been destroyed, or remain in the south, where bombing still happens despite warnings. Now, do remember, these are pre-conflict numbers. Exact and up-to-date numbers are hard to come by. These are probably many more in Khan Yunis right now, and those people who are barely getting by now have to find some other place to go to. Israel is not being very specific about where these people should go now. They are saying that the whole of Gaza can become part of their combat operation. As such, the Israeli attempt to empty out Khan Yunis has only fueled concerns that the IDF plans to push out all Gazans from the Strip, likely in the direction of Rafah crossing and the Sinai Peninsula in Egypt. Now, we already know that the Israeli Defense Forces are continuing their operations in northern Gaza. At least 80 people were killed in an Israeli airstrike in the refugee camps located in Jabalia in northern Gaza. The Israeli strikes are not just limited to northern Gaza, with the forces expanding their operations in south as well. At least 26 people were killed in an airstrike outside the southern town of Khan Yunis. Operations have been expanded in southern Gaza after military spokesperson Daniel Hagari said that Israeli forces would attack Hamas wherever they existed. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has once again said that there is no ceasefire deal yet to bring the Israeli hostages back. This after the Washington Post reported that Israel, the United States and Hamas were close to an agreement to release close to 50 hostages in exchange for a 5-day pause in the fighting. Netanyahu, however, reiterated that Israel was committed to bringing back all the hostages. He said that the return of hostages could happen in phases, but it will definitely happen. But even though the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says that the government is doing all it can to bring back the hostages held by Hamas, anger among the people across Israel is growing over the delay. Thousands of people gathered at the renamed Hostages Square in front of Tel Aviv Museum of Art to support the families demanding the return of their loved ones. Take a look at that. Pictures on your screens, the sea of crowd that have stepped out to protest the failure of the government to bring back the hostages from the Gaza Strip. The families of the 239 hostages are also planning to file a lawsuit demanding to bring back the hostages as soon as possible. Now in Jerusalem as well, thousands of people marched on the highway calling upon the Israeli government to do more in order to secure the release of hostages held in captivity by Hamas.
שמע ישראל לתפילת תחינה אך ורק לשם. צריך להתחיל עכשיו בתקומה הזאת עם החלטות אמיצות. And yet the people of Israel שקשה לו לראות את פנייתנו למדינות זרות בגלל ענייני אזרחות כפולה. אני מבהיר כאן מעל לכל ספק. תנ"ך שואל את השאלה שאני אשאל אתכם הערב.
But take a look at this. As the humanitarian crisis in Gaza deepens, India is making its contribution to assist the people of Palestine. India has now sent 32 tons of aid in a C-17 aircraft for the people of Palestine who are facing one of the worst humanitarian crises in history. The aid will be first sent to the El Arish airport in Egypt and will then be taken into the Gaza Strip, most probably via the Rafah border, the Rafah crossing. Meanwhile, the October 7 attack on southern Israel by Hamas left the whole world in shock with the sheer brutality and the horrific nature of the incident. Jamal Waraki, who is an Arab Muslim volunteer paramedic, he was one of the first people to arrive at Kibbutz Be'eri in southern Israel after the Hamas attack. Over a month later, he is still shaken to recall the brutality of what he saw.
Jamal Waraki, an Arab Muslim volunteer paramedic, was one of the first to arrive at Kibbutz Be'eri in southern Israel after the Hamas attack on October 7. He witnessed the killing of civilians in the kibbutz, which bore the brunt of the slaughter. Over a month later, he's still shaken to recall the brutality of what he saw.
That has nothing to do with Islam. Our religion, as a proud Arabic Muslim Israeli guy, I'm saying that has nothing to do with our religion.
Israeli officials say at least 1,300 people were killed, mostly civilians. The surviving residents were evacuated, and Israel launched a retaliatory bombardment and ground offensive against Hamas in Gaza that has killed more than 11,500 people.
When we first got into the kibbutz, the first one was Be'eri. I never thought that it could be a real thing. I thought in a while I thought that I'm dreaming, or I'm being in a kind of a film zone or such a thing. So I saw everything destroyed, a lot of houses burned, people who were slaughtered and killed in their houses, and afterwards the house will be lit on fire. When you see such a thing, you just think about you just start imagining what happens in there. How did they react? Who got killed first, the kids or the parents?
Waraki says Hamas did not spare Muslim in the attack. He recalls tending to 2 Arab women in hijab and 3 Arab bus drivers from East Jerusalem, all shot by the assailants. Reuters couldn't verify his account.
That means that they're not doing this for the country or for religion, they're just doing this for the hatred.
Waraki is still hopeful that Jews, Arabs, Christians and Muslims can learn to live together in Israel. There is no other way ahead, he says.
Of course, we need to live to each other. It's not a question, it's a need to. I think Israel learned today how to die together. Now it's time to learn how to live together. That's what I believe. Listen, Jews, Arabs, Christians, Muslims, we are all the same. Israel is a big whole body, and every one of us is one part of this body. If one of these parts is missing, the body won't be doing his job as it's supposed to. So I think that we have to take care of this, and we have to stop hatreds and start living together.
Shifting our focus to other global developments as well. In Madrid, approximately 170,000 people marched against Spain's amnesty law, a concession made by Socialist Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez. This is done to secure a 4-year term with the support of Catalan and Basque nationalist parties. Protesters waving Spanish flags and carrying signs reading "Sanchez traitor" and "Don't sell Spain" voiced concerns about the law's impact on the rule of law and separation of powers. Opposition leaders joined the rally organized by the civil groups. Afterward, clashes between protesters and riot police ensues. Sanchez has defended the law, citing its potential to ease tensions in Catalonia despite public opposition. Now, we spoke about the Israel-Hamas war, but it's important to note that there's another war that is raging. That is the Ukraine-Russia war. Now, war-torn Ukraine has started building underground schools in the Kharkiv region, which is going to allow children to return to in-person learning. This, while the region faces constant threat of Russian airstrikes.
Ukraine's Kharkiv region has started building underground schools. The heavily fortified structures will allow children to return to in-person learning, while the region faces the constant threat of Russian airstrikes. Schools in the eastern region, which borders Russia, had to resort to online learning after the February 2022 invasion. Kharkiv is frequently targeted by Russian missiles, drones and artillery. The governor reported on Thursday that in 24 hours, 3 different districts had been struck. The chief district architect, Anton Korotovsky, said 2 schools are currently under construction.
Вони можуть витримувати пряме влучання ракет С-300. Також розраховані десь на 500 чоловік кожна. Також вони будуть обладнані.
The structures could withstand direct hits from S-300 missiles. They are designed to accommodate up to 500 people each. They will also be adapted to be accessible for people with physical disabilities. There will be restrooms, independent power sources, diesel generators, water supply, sewage, and everything required for the education process.
He added that more of these schools, which act as bomb shelters, will be planned by the end of the year. The buildings will be equipped with necessities like ventilation, water and beds, so people can stay there for more than one day. Ukrainians are now bracing for another winter of possible Russian airstrikes targeting critical infrastructure. Last year, this caused widespread blackouts across the country.
On Bolivia's Amazon, raging wildfires have now encroached upon nature reserves and indigenous communities, devastating wildlife and claiming numerous animal lives as well. Disturbing videos from local authorities depict the aftermath, revealing the loss of deer, tapirs, rodents and diverse bird species due to the carbon monoxide poisoning. In the village of Bibosi, volunteers battled the flames with water hoses, but the region's recent drought hampers firefighting efforts by diminishing river water levels. The Bolivian Environment Ministry, it reported over 96,686 fire outbreaks in the month of November alone. Amidst the crisis, environmental activists in Bolivia's capital demand urgent measures to address the destructive fires. Meanwhile, Kenya's landfills are seeing a rise in plastic waste. Even as several countries are coming together to discuss a global treaty on plastic pollution, locals in Kenya are contributing in the fight against plastic pollution.
This is Kenya's Dandora landfill, Nairobi's main dumping ground, and one of the largest landfills in the world. It's filled with single-use plastic, despite major steps taken in recent years by Kenya to reduce its environmental footprint. the country is urging for a strong, binding agreement on plastics as international delegates gather there to discuss creating the first ever treaty to contain plastic pollution. Locals say a shift in mindset is already happening. In 2017, Kenya imposed the world's toughest law against plastic bags. Kenyans producing, selling, or even using plastic bags risk imprisonment of up to 4 years or fines of $40,000. It recently expanded its waste management law, which now puts the responsibility on producers to properly dispose of their products instead of consumers. Kenyan dairy products firm Biofoods has embraced the new legislation. It's replaced its white PET polyethylene terephthalate milk bottles to clear ones. Rosalind Raru is head of sustainability at the company.
We've gotten very positive feedback from the recyclers because it's more recyclable than the previous white PET that we were using.
Dominic Kagwe's company is among those recyclers.
Clear PET is a better devil to live with because we can easily be able to fully recycle it and get it back into the market, avoiding virgin products coming into the market.
According to the Environmental Investigation Agency, virgin plastics have reached unsustainable levels. It remains a significant environmental issue in Kenya, but Raru says the recent legislation is helping shift Kenyans' mindsets.
A couple of years ago, when we tried out this project, we didn't get as much positive feedback as we're getting from the consumers right now, which for us just proves that our customer base and the Kenyans in general have become more environment conscious.
And well, for all Indians out there who I know wear their hearts on their sleeve when it comes to cricket, the Narendra Modi Cricket Stadium in Ahmedabad is all set to host the final of the 2023 Cricket World Cup. Hosts India are taking on 5-time champions Australia in the final. The Indian team, led by Captain Rohit Sharma, has till now had an undefeated run at the World Cup with 10 straight matches and will be looking to extend the run to 11 matches to clinch their third World Cup title. The match will be attended by Prime Minister Narendra Modi and also by Australia's Deputy Prime Minister Richard Marles. The Indian team, meanwhile, has arrived at the stadium for what is expected to be a high-octane clash. Fans have gathered outside the stadium in a huge number from last night itself as the craze for the cricket continues. Listen in to what the fans had to say. What are they feeling ahead of the match?
I think it's almost like a revenge for 2003. So we were kids when I watched that match. So it was really disappointing to see India lose at that time. So this time, much better team, much better performance, and a much better mindset. I think you can't ask more because they already won 10 out of 10. I think they should give the cup now only. They have beaten all the teams in the round robin. So India deserves it. Yeah, hopefully. I mean, it's not easy. I mean, every time to go and win there, but they've been playing really well, and we are all proud of them. And irrespective of the result, we all should be proud of them.
Obviously, इंडिया में है तो ज़्यादा बेनिफिट टीम इंडिया के लिए है, बट कहीं ना कहीं ऑस्ट्रेलिया ने भी बहुत अच्छा कमबैक किया. पहले 2 मैचेस हारने के बाद जिस तरीके से कमबैक किया उन्होंने, मैक्सवेल का वो एक पारी जो जहाँ पे अफगानिस्तान का वो टर्निंग पॉइंट था, फिर उसके बाद साउथ अफ्रीका के साथ जो सेमीफाइनल था, कहीं ना कहीं दोनों टीमें बहुत अच्छी हैं. लेकिन जो एक बेनिफिट साइड है कि इंडिया हमेशा से एक टीम की तरह खेला है और ऑस्ट्रेलिया हमेशा एक प्लेयर के ऊपर डिपेंडेंट है. कोई ना कोई एक दिन चल जाता है. बट होपफुली आज अहमदाबाद में मैच है तो पिच ज़्यादा पेसर्स को मदद करेगा. बट वहीं पे हमारे पास शुभमन गिल है खेलने के लिए, और रोहित शर्मा का बेहतरीन जो स्टार्ट देता है अपनी टीम के लिए, वो काफ़ी ज़्यादा मतलब अप्रिशिएटेबल है. बट स्टिल
एक्साइटेड तो हम सारे बहुत हैं. इंडिया वर्सेस ऑस्ट्रेलिया फाइनल है तो उम्मीद तो ये लगा रखी कि इंडिया जीते. अब देखो क्या होता है. टीम तो सभी अच्छी खेल रही है हमारी, तो सर फिर भी अगर हम अब पर्सनल व्यू लेना चाहे मेरा, तो मैं विराट कोहली बोलूँगा. विराट कोहली, रोहित शर्मा एंड शमी.
इंडिया की स्ट्रॉन्ग टीम लग रही है. अभी जीती है ग्रुप स्टेज के सारे मैच, की सेमीफाइनल में भी न्यूजीलैंड को हरा दिया. शमी, रोहित, कोहली, इनको कोई नहीं रोक सकता.
Well, all the best to Team India, and with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Top Stories. Lots more continues right on the other side. Don't go anywhere.
ChatGPT. It can generate codes and human-like responses through text, write stories, and do a lot more.
I work in a newsroom with anchors, researchers and scriptwriters, graphic artists, producers, video editors, camera crew. But does a newsroom really need them today?
All of us have to think about unique and distinctive value addition that cannot be automated or repeated or replaced by a machine.
ChatGPT may kill many companies.
A human has to be in the loop with an ability to control this.
Dark Side of the Boom. Streaming now.